Hello and welcome to this podcast. Before we get too far, I just ask that if you enjoy the content on this channel, that you like, comment, and subscribe. Today we are going to be talking about the making of my latest AP, Reaching, which came out last Friday on most streaming platforms. Links will be in the description below. So now I'm just going to introduce the guests I have with me today, going in order of the songs on the EP. We have our first returning guest, Noah. Say hi.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Noah. I'm the voice you hear on it. On Invincible, sorry.
And then my collaborator from Going Rogue, we have Canal.
Hello, I'm Canal.
And then another returnee who helped me write lyrics on Advance. Hello, Traces of a Headspace.
Hello, this is the first Ryan Debolt release I haven't featured on vocal. But the clever monk may have been able to guess which song I worked on, even though I'm not credited.
And finally, we have from Impact, Totally Unremarkable, and Alfie Rogue.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
All right. So, just quickly going over the format of these podcasts again. We're just kind of going to go in order of the songs on the EP, and we're going to kind of just have internal discussions about like how and why each song kind of got made. Some of the answers are going to be a little similar. I'll warn up front, and you'll see why very quickly. But without further ado, I suppose we should start with Invincible.
Yeah, sure. How do you want to start this? Like, kind of provoke the question, provoke with a question, or like, do you want us to talk kind of about the process of it and like kind of initial visions for the song and then how that evolved?
Yeah, I think probably going through the process we'll start, and then anybody can jump in with questions. Because,
Okay.
I mean, first things first, I'll say this about, let's see, Advance, Going Rogue. Actually, all of these songs were at least partially used for my recording class I was doing. And so all but one of these songs got written in a span of, what, 2 months?
What was the
If
exception, you know? Was it
We'll find out
Oh, okay.
when we get to it. Obviously, it was not Invincible if we're starting with that one, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to compare it, I think, to the experience I had writing the first song that you and I worked on together.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one, which came out on your last album, Binary, was it took a long time for me to figure things out because I think I was afraid to throw stuff against the wall to see if it sticked because it like everything kind of, I don't know why, it just felt kind of irreversible, but I think it just takes time to realize that, like, if you don't like it, you can just go back and fix it, which we did a lot of.
Oh yeah.
In the first one, but this one was definitely a much quicker process. I think I already kind of knew some elements I wanted to incorporate, and I already had kind of a theme, I guess, or an idea of where I wanted the song to go.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember when I first asked you if you'd be willing to help me out with this. You were like, "I have an idea." So
and I guess I'd kind of like I don't know if it was presumptuous of me or not, but I kind of already expected that I would be coming back just with another idea. So like I kind of had a small mental bank of ideas, and this was top of the list.
Yeah.
Um,
I have to look back because you had sent me a song that you were like, let's do something like this. What was the name?
was it Her Melancholy?
Yes, it was Her Melancholy. Yeah,
Her
you sent that to
Melancholy
me.
is it's a very like bassy kind of trancey type song with a vocal portion that is spoken word, um, and it's a monologue from some anime that I can't remember, or maybe some anime that I can't remember, and I really liked this idea of there is no like the only vocals in the song are just speaking, um, and I've always been as Canal can attest to, uh, very interested in voice acting and the use of the human voice artistically, not necessarily in a singing context, but just verbally speaking, maybe more poetically, if you want to kind of phrase it like that. And so I knew I wanted to have a section in this song that was the only part of the vocals, and it would be just sort of like a monologue. And I didn't know what that monologue would be. Even while we were writing it, I was still kind of thinking about that. But I knew that I wanted the song to have a hopeful tone, coming off the heels of my last one, or our last one, sorry. You know,
Yeah.
Lost Sanctity is a downer.
Yeah, I was about to say, if it came from the first half of Binary, it's a downer.
Right. Um,
Yep.
right. And this time I was like, we got to come up with like, or at least I wanted to do something a little more hopeful and kind of for myself, just something that would provide a bit of a narrative resolution for that. Even if you don't even, they're on completely different albums, and but you might see the first one says Noah, this one says Noah, and you might think, oh, okay, that's kind of like a response, I guess, to the first one.
I think that's
Um,
kind of a common thing in a lot of the songs I've realized because, like, I mean, in Eternity, there were references to Technicolor Dreams there.
I think
So
we
it wouldn't
literally
even be
said
the only
Technicolor
song
Dreams.
that I've made that had references to other songs nested within it.
yeah, I guess I didn't want to leave on a low note, and so I don't know if I like made the only like underlying connection between these, because like Trace has just said, I think you specifically referenced, like, used the words Technicolor Dreams, or something to that effect. This is just kind of like you look at who wrote this with Ryan, and you're like, oh, isn't that the guy from the from Binary? That's kind of the only connection, but I thought probably significant enough. and if not, like, I think it's just a good I wanted a message, of course, that stood on its own, not just on the legs of that first one. So while we were writing it, I'm really into philosophy, and I think one of the more hopeful philosophies that like acknowledges the crappiness of the world, is a kind of absurdist or existentialist view of the world, particularly um, uh, uh, Albert Camus' kind of Sisyphean view of the world, right? Um, that we make our own meaning in it, and we're ultimately the ones who decide that, right? Which is a pretty hopeful message, because then it's kind of like, it's ultimately a very free way to view life. But this one uses I think a letter he wrote to his wife or fiance, or a lover or something like that, to I mean, it's nothing that he like. I don't think it's anything he like included in any of his like published works. It was just like in a letter, right? But it's very profound to me, and I think to anyone who is into like existential philosophy or absurdism or even stoicism, this idea that like it's within you to be happy, and you have to find it and use it, or else you just won't get there. So I thought it would be a great inclusion here, and it fit like a pretty good length requirement that we had. We set aside kind of an area where like, oh, and that's where we're going to do a speaking part, and we'll get to that later. And it fit that really well. Yeah, I just sort of sent it to Ryan, thinking like, what if we use this for that section? And it just worked out perfectly in terms of length, in terms of mood, and a good enough setup for the kind of the drop that occurs right after it.
I love that drop.
Yeah, it was fun to do, like in the studio.
Oh yeah.
Kind of getting more passionate as it goes on, but subtly so. All the while, the background is swelling in its own ways, and then the last sentence. I wish I could quote it right off my brain hole, but I can't. Builds up to that in conjunction with the background, percussive elements and harmonic elements to drop it as soon as I'm finished speaking.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I remember sitting in the studio, and even like before, while we were even just coming up with the thing, like you definitely had it within mind that you wanted to get like a lot of emotion and character behind the talking bits in there. Like you put a lot of work into getting those to sound the way you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know how many takes we had, but I definitely like would be sitting at home, not even working on the song per se, and just kind of going over and marking it how I wanted it to sound with the music. And that was really fun for me. I didn't even get into in the last sentence. I say something. There's something stronger, something better, pushing right back.
I just posted the lyrics in chat.
Oh, thank you. The phrasing of that, I actually just decided the day of, where like, the speed of this kind of thing, like which parts did I want to slow down and speed up? It would be easy to say like, oh, for the really hard hitting parts, you want to slow down. But in this, I actually sped up on the really hard hitting parts because I wanted them to punch, but I also didn't want them to take away the steam from what it was building up to. So I thought speeding them up would kind of help to draw importance or draw attention to those important sections of the lyrics, while not stealing the thunder ultimately of the drop that occurs right after the word back.
So I'm interested now. Like, what did you guys like? Honestly, like, catch in kind of that kind of stuff that stands out to you.
When I first listened to it, I thought, wow, Noah really came through with the voice acting thing, like you said, like you mentioned me earlier, because we've been talking about voice acting for what feels like eons. So when
Maybe
when
like
he came
six,
out with
7 years.
this, yeah, oh, it's been a long time. So the fact that you did this, I knew it was going to sound absolutely wonderful. Um, so the music in the beginning of it, I was like, wow, yeah, this is gonna be really cool starting up to it. And then I heard "My Dear," and then in the midst of "Hey," the whole lyrics of it all, and I was like, wow, this is really getting intense. I really like it. And I thought that he was going to go slower on "There's Something Stronger, Something Better," and pushing right back. But the fact that he sped up in those parts made me. I was like, yeah, that's right up the alley of the voice actor that I know as Noah. So I was very impressed with the lyrics for this one, even though they're not singing lyrics, but the lyrics of it, of just speaking it, I knew it was going to be a great job, well done for the two of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I wish I could take credit for writing them too, but gonna have to defer that one to my boy Camus.
Speaking as someone who has actually just done the spoken word voice acting in some of Ryan's songs before, I really liked it. I especially I know this was entirely unintentional, but you hear "My Dear" and my thought immediately goes back to Technicolor Dreams because he's got a song called "My Dear," and this was way more hopeful than that one, which
Oh,
I love.
especially the prologue that came before it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, that was what I
I
was going
think
to say
that's the
next. Was
first narration that had any semblance of hope in it.
hey, the one in
Well, I
Eternity
guess
had
the one
hope
in
in it.
Eternity does,
The
to a
one in
degree.
Eternity is a last will and testament, but it's a
That's true.
hopeful one.
True. But it is still kind of depressing because it's like, yes, this person's dying.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it is a. I'm not going to quote my own writing here, but I love that it starts with "My Dear." I know that was entirely unintentional, but I love that. And then yeah, the tempo you got with it and the stability of your voice, and same thing we did in prologue where there's a drop in the narration. In this case, you did it at the end. In prologue, it was on a word. I love the way that hits.
I you know it's it's funny because like I think the original like inspiration for of course the original inspiration for the song was came from that song that we talked about earlier, Her Melancholy, but I got a lot more excited about the possibilities of speaking in music and kind of poetry um, just after the last podcast we recorded, because Traces and I were just talking about the human voice and how like exciting an element it was for music.
Geeking out about the fact that we're both voice acting nerds.
Yeah, and I was like, up until then, I only knew like one other person in my life who was also excited about the use and range of the human voice for artistic expression, and that, of course, he's of course with us right now, Canal, and so that kind of relit my passion for it too, and I have to owe, if there is any uh, performance in this that, or spoken word performance in um, this song that that impressed anyone, I really have to thank Traces for that, because I mean he was the one who really uh, I guess kind of relit my fire for that.
Given the wonder of the product you produced, was my pleasure.
Well, thank you.
I think it's great hearing lyrics that are spoken with such heart and passion, even if it is melancholy, or if it's for uplifting purposes, or even if it's like it's depressing. I love every single second of it, of just somebody expressing their voice, not in singing, which is what I do typically, but like acting without a picture in front of you, you know? Like you
Mhm.
are acting as that person who is talking. You aren't in that role necessarily on a stage or in a movie. You are in this song for a good 3 minutes of just talking as you're if someone else, and the way that people portray those is just absolute magic to me, which I would love to do sometimes as well, other than singing, because you can put a lot of heart and passion into singing, like most people do in most of their songs that they write. But speaking is a whole nother level because you don't have that backup of musicality with you. You have the backup of your own acting with it. So I think it's just an absolute pleasure to hear people talk in songs than it is to sing in them in cases like these. So you can hear an uplifting speech or a depressing "oh woe is me" passage. I think it's lovely either way. So it was really great to hear that kind of stuff from both Traces and Noah. If with my voice acting like once and stuff like that, because I love it. I love doing that type of stuff. So hearing you two do it is just absolutely amazing, I think.
Ryan, you heard the man. Get on it for the next Bard project.
Right.
Um, no, I
Yeah, you
think
know
one of
I'm
the things I
down.
love about the spoken word, I think we may have talked about this last time, but I don't remember last time, so I'm going to repeat myself, is it's more real. Like, no one breaks out into song in real life.
Mm.
But if you're a poet, if you're, and I am, and I imagine you, both of you are as well, if you're quoting Albert Camus, and it sounds like you made your spoken word in your own canoe. But if you if you're any kind of that sort of person who launches into monologue in real life, then there's a reality to it. There's a realness to it. You can almost feel
Mhm.
like this is the emotional with the music background. This is the emotional tone that a bard would try to elicit, telling a story around a campfire in the days of old.
Mm.
It kind of
I
go
feel
ahead.
like the artistic capacity of spoken word is not as explored as singing is.
Hmm. Oh,
If
for
if
sure.
that makes sense. Yeah, like
Oh, I
you know,
completely agree.
right, and it's such an exciting world to explore because you just don't see it often enough, and like Trace has just said, it's so much more real. You can uh, you can hear maybe like a voice crack at in awe of something, or you can feel like real tangible joy just as you would in daily life uh, uh, through speaking.
I love this statement. You're not going to break out into song
Yeah,
in real life. Like it's
good
not
way of
High
putting
School
it.
Musical up in this, you know. Like nobody breaks out into song just because of a basketball game. Like you know, they tell their whole story. So I really like that little tidbit that you gave there because I feel the same way. As nobody's going to break out into song in school just because they had a bad day at lunch. Like you know, like
Not that
they would
I
be.
don't like musicals.
Yeah,
I do
I
like
mean,
musicals. I just accept
yeah, but like
the
even getting
fact that I have
into
to
like,
suspend my disbelief.
yeah, like Canal, you kind of mentioned like the magic of it, and like I like it, like we were definitely hoping it was going to be there, but I really think it was like after we did takes of it in the studio and we played it back over the demo track. I just remember me and Noah looked at each other and just went, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I mean, we knew that take was it. We're like,
Yeah,
okay,
it
well,
was
we
just
could
like
keep trying to
that.
chase that, or
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just like it was perfect. That was all we needed. Like there were a couple takes, but it wasn't that many,
Mhm.
especially compared to some of the later ones that we'll get to. Um,
I think I might know what you're referring to.
oh boy, yeah. But like, I mean, just like every bit of the process of making Invincible was just a joy. I mean, because like we just had a clear idea of what we wanted to do with it. We had done it before with Lost Sanctity, so we both knew how we were going to try to work and structure the song. Though the structure of Invincible is, it couldn't be much farther from the structure of Lost Sanctity.
Very true. Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I mean, honestly, if it weren't for like the voices being the same in the two, and being able to go like, oh yes, this is made by the same two artists, it's like I bet if you put both of those songs in front two people, they probably wouldn't guess that they were made by the same two people.
Oh, I remember with Lost Sanctity, we had the added challenge of thinking that Noah was you, right?
That's true. Yeah, just kind of the same.
I remember that.
Timbres.
Because
Yeah.
you two sing with almost the exact same timbre. I was like, is that your pitch shifted, Ryan? But it was easier this time because Noah's spoken voice is very good.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I think, we have spoken a lot about Invincible, and I have plenty to ask about, or, to, I guess, converse about the other pieces. So we can move on now if that's cool with everyone.
So I guess the next one.
Final thing about it, though, is just my one first impression. I listened to it expecting to hear singing, not hearing it at all. But, and then you hear like this spoken word that's going through the song. My first thought was, oh wow, it's like poetic. It's very nice. You got this background music. I feel like maybe I'm in a cafe in a city. And then it kept going, and I was like, no. This is an anime protagonist speech, and things are about to go down. And then the music picked up after the speech, and I was like, yeah, it's that. That's what this is.
Anime protagonist moment.
Anime protagonist Noah Miller coming at you.
I have the power of Noah and anime.
He wields the power of existentialism.
Yeah, right.
A man after my own heart. I
can't fight him. He's too edgy.
Satra, and somewhere on my shelf, I also have. I have downloaded. Like, I love existentialism. Like 6 or 7 books on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've never read Camus' Sisyphus, but I have read The Stranger.
Yeah, and this is, I think, a good point for pointing out that Trace's. We're recording this, or meeting virtually on Discord, and Trace's little like tagline beneath his username is "I am Sisyphus and this is my boulder." So I had an inclination that he might be into that kind of thing.
That was actually something I screamed after playing Minecraft and trying to find the end of the cave, and it just kept going. And I just screamed in frustration. I
don't know if I should be admitting this, but I am currently playing Minecraft. It's helping me keep my focus.
Let me know if you find Sisyphus' boulder.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any closing remarks on Invincible before we move to the next one? I'll take that as a no.
Cool
Okay.
beans.
So, the next song on the EP is Going Rogue. And
that is a good. I've heard that is a good one.
Yeah.
I
I think it is safe to say, if I am remembering correctly, I don't know if I am, but I have a feeling I am, that the number one priority in Going Rogue was it's got to have bass.
Yes. Yes, that is the one thing I wanted in it.
Did you just... I'm sorry. I'll let you guys talk, but I just have to ask. Did you just start out with the catchiest bass hook ever?
Yes.
Well,
started with the bass.
How it started is I kind of came up with the name before I came up with, like, me and Ryan had come up with the actual song itself. I thought Going Rogue sounds like a sweet name. So I was like, all right, let's go off of that. And I'm a typical bass singer for our university's choir and stuff like that. I've been singing bass most of my life. Everything that I usually do is down low in the register. So I wanted a little tribute to basses everywhere, whether it's playing on an instrument or singing or anything like that. So I decided Going Rogue was about the bass line going rogue and having the treble voices um, kind of support the bass instead of being the bass supporting the treble. I wanted treble to support the bass. So that was kind of the basis of the get it basis of the of the song itself. So that's kind of where we got started with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
obviously this one's more of an electric song. It's an entirely electric song is a better way of putting it. So it probably doesn't have the same like emotional story behind like writing the lyrics that the other ones have. But this one was definitely like a sit down for like an hour at a time because we were both freaking busy with college stuff at the time of making this.
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, we were popping in and out. But it was just like, all right, sit down. Whatever we come up with, stick it.
Yeah, so we kind of started off with just the straight up, just the but kind of that kind of stuff, and then I don't know, Ryan. I forget. You just kind of started adding notes to it, and we're like, wow, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that sounds pretty dope. And then I was like, what if we just keep going with that one? And then so we kind of
Just kept
literally
going.
the whole song is based off of the bass line. It is not based off of the treble voices or any lyrics or anything. It literally started with just the bass line first, and then we added treble voices to it to try
Well,
to support the bass.
even more than that, I think even before we wrote the bass line itself, we sat there and like went through like synthesizer sounds I had made or just like synthesizers in general before we like had a bass sound where we were like, yes.
Oh, yeah, we went through maybe about 10 to 15 that I was like, every time we went through, I was like, could be better. Could be bassier. Could have a little more robustness to it, a little more oomph to it. And then we finally found the one that you listen to now. And we were both like, yeah, that's the one right there.
And then, of course, we took it one step further and then threw a sub bass underneath it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. The more the bass, the better, I thought.
That felt like a subtle
so-
reference to what's the one from Binary that's like the one that's got the driving?
Rev the engine.
Oh,
Rev the Engine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Felt like a subtle reference to Rev the Engine. I feel like that Rev the Engine too.
The bass.
Not like the same tone, but like Rev the Engine.
was
has
similar.
A lot of
It
that
was
sort of
similar.
sub-bass.
It was a similar bass to the one that I used to make that sound.
you know what's
Uh,
you know what I find really like I see a lot of parallels here with like I feel like Ryan is good at putting together a melody that will complement everything else that you set up. So like you can be like, this is what I want in the percussion, this is what I want in the lower register, and then Ryan will and you'll be like, oh, I'm not really sure what kind of melody I was seeing there, and Ryan will be like, don't worry, I got it. And then like put together what almost in my experience always ends up in the final mix.
Why thank you.
Yeah, I thought that went, honestly, that was pretty much right out of the gate. Is he was like, I was like, man, I don't really know what to do for this bass line because I know it wants to be funky, and then I was like, hold on, I got it. And then it just went off from there. So that was pretty spot on of what kind of happened there. And then we both added our collaborations to try to make it more spiced up. During the song, I kind of thought of Daft Punk's "Around the World," how they changed the bass line up frequently, so it makes this 7-minute long song feel like 2 minutes sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, this song that we have is what, about 4 minutes, maybe something like
I
that.
think
4
it's
to 3
almost
minutes. I
5
think.
actually.
Yeah, but
I
it
think
doesn't
it's
feel like it.
440.
No,
It doesn't
very
feel
short when
like
I'm
it.
rocketing down the highway at 90 miles an hour because I can't help it.
Yeah, like, because I think one of the other things that we were like really hyper focused on, like before we even came up with other bits after the bass line, we were just like the drums got to be right. They can't be boring and simple.
Yeah, that's why you hear a lot of just filler drums, just kind of that kind of stuff. That's just very rapid into the next segment. Is because we also wanted the drum line to support the bass.
Yeah,
The
it's almost
bass is
like there's
literally the
a bass
whole
kick
circle.
in there that is also important.
It's crazy. It's like that whole song was written for bass.
Yeah.
So what you guys are saying is in between your pop in and pop out, you were popping off.
Hey,
Hey,
did he just?
he just did that. He just did that.
You can always count on me.
I loved this project that we did together. It took a while because we were both like, "Hey, man, does like Thursday work?"
Yeah.
Us both busy with our schedules all the time. Sometimes I'd be walking from dorm to dorm, calling him on the
Yeah.
way there.
Like I think the first time we met, like you weren't even back at your dorm yet. You were like outside walking.
Yeah, I was outside walking from one of my classes, and I just had picked up food, and he called me. I was like, "Uh-oh." And so I just called him on my phone and walked there and just listened to it when I finally got back home. But so with little time that we spent collabing together, this song really came through, I thought. Um and really made a hit. I love the title "Going Rogue" is because most people think of going rogue as like some person breaking the rules and going on their own, and that is exactly what I wanted for the bass line to do, because it kind of does break the rule of the bass has the melody. What? The bass is its own part? What? It's not supporting anything. It just broke free. So that was, I think the song really wrapped up together nicely.
As a fellow bass singer, I appreciate your efforts.
Oh, trust me, man.
Fighting the good
It's
fight.
sometimes it's hard out there. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
I really liked the I feel like consistently throughout the song, the bass section really felt like it was pulling along the higher register. It adds. I wrote it down here. It comes through in a difference in attitude between the registers. The bottom layer feels much more like we're doing it my way, and the top layer is like, okay, we're figuring it out. And I mean that in like a good way. Like the top layer is keeping up with the bass, rather than what would often be probably the opposite.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because it kind of feels like that, like when we first started it, because we made the bass line, right, and then we started out treble voices in, and I was like, Ryan, how about we have the treble voices fade in instead of just being there like on time? Let's have them fade in and act as if that they're like, what is this bass line doing? What is this bassist doing in our band? Why is he doing this? It's the day of the performance. What's going on? So we had them fade in, and then you hear a giant rip in the treble line.
Yeah,
Of like,
I
okay,
think
we're
that came
finally
like
doing
right
this.
after like we made the fade, and then we were like, but what if? What if there was a big
this is kind of
guitar slide going into this?
What if they were like,
not
oh,
actually a
so
guitar,
this is
but-
what he's trying to do? Okay, I get it now. I get it. Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of like,
that slide sound is like, I still just love that because it's like so weird. Like the way that it ended up coming out, it almost like it's like almost to the point where it sounds like somebody saying something, but you can't make it out.
I thought that too when we first started it, when it was like really long. If you remember, like when we first put it in there and it was really decently long, I was like, that just sounds like some dude going like, like screaming or yelling or something like that. Just,
Oh!
yeah, like, oh, or
Yeah.
so.
Wow!
Heyo! Yeah, so we made it a little bit shorter.
Vocaloid.
Yeah, so it sounded like, it's just. I'm glad we shortened it up a little bit to kind of like surprise everybody with the guitar slide down. Make
Faux
sure, like,
guitar
okay,
slide.
this is where the foundation is happening. Instead of just having the, everything line up at the same time, everything comes in slowly, like, oh God, what is this guy doing? It's kind of like Chameleon by Herbie Hancock, when it starts off with just a boom, doom, 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 doom,
Yeah.
doom, 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 and then suddenly you get like, win it, win it, win it, win it. Like, it just starts adding on to it. So that's kind of what we tried to do in that short little 10-second segment. And then throughout the song, they just kind of like with the groove of the bass finally. So
If anyone out here is bored, sample that and do that version of that song. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
That would be so much time, but probably well worth it.
Yeah.
yeah, if you just contact, like, I don't know, send something to somebody, because I also want to hear it because it's my voice. See if it's funny or not. I'll make it my ringtone if somebody does it well.
Yeah, like the production of this song, if I had to compare it to any other song that I've produced, it was probably the most similar to the production of Retroglycerin. Where it was just like, we came up with something and it was in, and then move it on. We moved on to the next thing. We just kept
That's it.
doing
Yeah,
that.
that's literally it.
But it just worked.
It did. This song is just right up my alley too. It's just, if anybody ever knows me, like Noah and Ryan does, and surely these guys are finding out a lot more about me now. But I'm a big heavy bass kind of guy. I love a lot of big bass. I love low voices. I love all those kind of cool sounds that you can make out of a lower register. So this was just straight up my alley when I first thought of the name of it.
Now we just got to get throat singing in a song.
Oh, trust me. I was at, well, I don't know. By the start of this, I was really thinking about a song because I thought of another title, and I was like, dude, if I could get some people collabing on this, we won't be throat singing, but it'd be pretty cool.
Do a throat singing song just called Throatally Wrecked.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh,
You ever say something and just be like, nope, 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 take it back.
No,
you can't have that one back. It was too good.
just really throw people off and name a song, make a throat singing song and call it Throat Goat.
It starts off with like the grapefruit diagram. It's like, so you want to take your mans. It just goes into like some Mongolian throat singing.
Oh no!
You gotta add like some bleats to it too, like a goat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should tangent into this story or not, but there's someone Ryan and I used to know that is relevant here, but I don't know if I should tangent into the story.
I'd have
All
to
I'll
think
say
of
is
who it
maybe Charles.
is. No! Oh no! Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Should I stay away from it?
I think you can say it. I think these guys will get a kick out of it.
Okay.
I already brought it up, like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like
They're
never
do
gonna
it on
meet
the
the
show.
guy.
You'd have to do it on the
Hey.
after show at that point.
So
I'm ready, bro.
Ryan,
My pants are down. Tell me.
Ryan and I went to university together, so we met. Should I say that? Is that okay?
I think that's fine.
Okay. There was this guy in the lounge, and one of the things that he would always do in the course of him basically living there 24/7 was he'd go into one of the rooms and he'd just like start Gregorian throat chanting. And it would echo through the entire lounge. And so the background music for us doing these complicated equations on white and blackboards was just Gregorian throat singing. We think he went into the other room to like try to get away from us, but he was doing it so deep. couldn't get away from it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds kind of dope, except for like when you're doing like math equations and stuff like that.
I was about to say, it would have been cool if we weren't like trying to get our homework that was due the next morning done.
Anyway,
I mean, he was
reeling
trying to
back
do his homework
ADHD.
too.
Yeah.
Not kidding, by the way. He did live there. Like, he had a
Yeah.
secret stash of clothes.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
You're taking like a tour of the
There
campus.
used to be
and
a
you're
couch
like, so
in there.
this is
There's
where the
not
Gregorian
anymore."
throat singer lives. Catch him 24 hours. He throat sings for everybody here.
He already graduated. He just really likes the acoustics here.
Oh, and here he is now. Like you just get like a full concert.
Reeling back the ADHD. Back to the song. Right.
Yeah, does anybody
Anyway.
have any more questions for Going
Yeah.
Rogue or anything like that?
I'm just gonna completely out myself. I'm sorry to everybody else, including myself and the song that I was part of making. This is my favorite song on the EP, just because it hits that one spot where I'm like, oh, nostalgia.
I'd have to say it's
I
between this
posted
one
it
and
in the chat,
Advance
but
for
if
me.
you've ever listened to Gil's theme from Street Fighter 2, this is what this song reminds me of. The funky bass, the like where the bass just is the song. You listen to it for that. It's I have no other way to explain it. It hit that one itch that I've been needing scratched for a while, where I needed more songs like this. And that slide guitar, well, not really a guitar, but it sounded like a guitar, and I share that sentiment of it sounding like a guy screaming, but it literally sounds like a guy screaming on, like, I don't know, you try to play Game Boy games, and it's like a person's voice, but it's so digitized to where it comes out sounding like that.
Sounds like it's an
just
8-bit.
yeah, it's the whole effect of the song fit that area so beautifully, and it's gonna stick around on my playlist for quite a long time.
Well, thanks, Turley. That means a lot, honestly. I hope to catch more people's eye like that, or ears, I should say, to songs like that, because that's the stuff I love too. So finally bringing it back.
Gotta rock like a robot. Speaking of which.
All right, no, but we need to cool it with the Daft Punk references.
I don't know. I have a feeling more about to pop up. Because
Should we move from a song that moved as smoothly as possible to a song that moved as stickily as possible?
Yeah, Advance.
How does a song move stickily?
You'll find out.
Advance writing the music didn't go that hard. Because I got the melody, like I was on campus one day, and it was like early on the year, like I just figured out about the assignment that I had to do for my audio recording class. And so I was just thinking about things, and I was like, okay, I got a melody in my head. Went back home, got it written down, and like just got the idea down. And then The Wall. Oh yeah. I want lyrics on this thing. I have an idea.
Daft Punk to Pink Floyd references that.
Yeah, but it's just like that. Coming up with the music for this one was not bad. The lyrics, on the other hand, that's when I had to phone a friend.
May I launch into the story from my perspective?
Go ahead.
So, I've worked with Ryan for his first album, his second album, and now this EP. In the past two, I've participated as a writer, but I've always also been a lyrical consultant because I'm a poet. And Ryan does this thing where he will finish writing a song, get the melody line exactly where he wants it, and then he'll come to me and say he wants words. Sometimes he will have tried to write them. He did not do this with Advanced. He came to me with the entire melody line of, like, the entire song was entirely already done. 12 tracks, all composed and set up with a nice piano MIDI line for the melody. And he was like, I want lyrics to this. And I went, you've got 2 sections in there where it's syncopated on the offbeat. And Ryan said yes. And then we got to work. Several hours at a time over the course of a month.
It took a while. It took a while.
I think, Canal, part of the reason Ryan didn't have time to work with you is because he was torturing me with this. This was, like, single-handedly the most difficult poetic project I have ever worked on.
So you were Sisyphus and this was your boulder?
One might say.
Because I would write something, and then Ryan would go, I like that, but it doesn't fit. And then he'd play it, and he'd be right. I'd have written something that meant the syllable count, but was accented all wrong. And we'd workshop the line about a dozen times. So every line in the song that you hear was rewritten 5 or 6 times.
yeah.
And there's 2 pages of them.
Yeah, and like even after like he had gotten like after we had gotten done writing the whole thing the first time, and I had started practicing it, I was like, I need to rework some of these things myself. Went through and made some revisions to make it a little bit easier to sing, because like,
Yep.
holy man, there were some parts that originally how we had them written that were like my tongue just felt like mush, couldn't move fast enough.
Let's see. I've got the lyrics document open here. Should I go through the history of some of the things?
I mean, we could,
where do
because like, well, okay, well, one thing I do want to set the record straight. It's like, I did not come to him with no idea of what was gonna happen.
Okay.
I definitely came with an idea of like, this is the story. I have an idea for this very specific section, what the words got to be like, but I'm not positive.
I will grant this is correct. He came to me with a story he wanted to tell. And a subsection, I will point out the section you had ideas for was the C section, which is the shortest section.
True.
Just gotta point out there.
I'm just gonna throw out there.
This song has
there were E sections in this song.
Yeah, this song has a A because it goes A1, B1, A2, B2, C1, E1, C2, E2, C3, C4. There's no repetition.
Yeah, there's not a single repeated line in that song, and I think that was the other thing that I came with immediately was like, here's the other thing that's going to make this insanely difficult for both of us, and we're going to hate ourselves while working on it, but nothing's going to be repeated. There's no chorus. I'm sorry.
So while working on this song, we would throw our heads at it for a few hours, get through a single section, and then stumble away.
Yep.
Like, I studied proof-based mathematics in college, and I'm probably 90% confident there were sections of this song that were harder. Like the E sections especially, because you redecided the rhyme scheme 3
halfway
or 4
into,
times.
Like, writing one of them, yeah.
Yeah,
like
we were writing it, and then you just decided, actually, I want the rhyme scheme to be this instead.
Yep.
And it was pain.
It was pain, but
because
I think it came out with a very, very good result.
Because in the song, you hear that you probably think that the E sections are 16 lines. But they're not. They're actually written as 8 melody lines, and Ryan decided halfway through he wanted the rhymes to be halfway through each line. So we had to figure out where to split each line to make it rhyme, and then we had to figure out how to fit. It doesn't help that those sections are also the ones that are syncopated on the offbeat, which makes it incredibly difficult to get each line started because you have to use a specific orientation of metrical feet to get it to work at all. I was flabbergasted when I heard Ryan sing this song.
Great use.
Because I did not believe he could do it with the kind of clarity he did. I heard it and I was like, I can understand every word you said. How did you do that? Like,
Good recording
It-
and
it-
good mixing.
it
At
just
least by my
I can
standards.
tell you how he did it.
I was
Because
about to
I was
say.
there for all of the recording, baby. Side C of the story.
This is
You
a three-dimensional
witnessed
story.
You witnessed the pain.
Oh yeah, it was. So I won't say that it was just as painful as the writing. It was maybe about like half. It's like
Yeah.
I don't. Writing was probably something along the lines of hitting your shin with a scooter. It hurts
Oh.
way more than stubbing your toe. I'd say this is stubbing your toe. It
Like
was.
I'm just looking through this. Like I found like we spent all of February on this, and I'm looking through the revision history now, and I could see on February 26th at 8:36 at night, my time, because I'm in a different time zone than the rest of y'all. I could see where the E section is being completely butchered because Ryan has decided that it needed to have a different rhyme scheme. So I could just see like every line is crossed out and rewritten. I remember when you decided that you wanted to change, like right when we were done, you wanted to change the rhyme scheme on the A sections to be different.
Yeah. Though that one was a quick revision. That one was like we literally just like reversed the order of
Yeah, we
something.
flipped a couple lines. That was easy because we wrote this song completely out of order because we wrote the C sections first.
Yeah, because
Then
that was
we
the thing
did-
we had the clear idea for. Like
Yep.
we could almost say like the C sections were the keyframes if this was
Yeah.
animation.
And then we did the A sections next, and then we did the B sections, and then we did the E sections, and then we did the E sections again, and then I think we did the E sections again.
And then went back to the A sections.
I did those again. So
Yeah.
was
It,
if
it was nuts.
I envy you, Canal. You had a different experience working with Ryan than I got.
I've known him a long time, buddy. I've known him a while.
He's done this to me more than once, where he's been like, the melody can't change. You have to make the words work. And I
That
am.
sounds exactly like him, honestly. It really does. I think Noah can attest to that too.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. No, it's like, listen, like you're gonna have to make this work. I'm sorry, but I know what I want here.
You could have worked 2 months on it and been like, "Oh, so I brought you this piece," and he would rip it up in front of you. Like, sorry, it
Yeah.
won't work.
Now that being said, I am incredibly proud of some of the things we managed to get in here. Was we say it's 50-50 mostly because by the time we were done with the haze and everything else, we couldn't remember who'd done what. I think we both blocked it out. But I know for a fact I was responsible for try in vain to guess the clouds amongst the smog, which I loved. And also my other favorite one is because your scalpel is a sickle and your needle is a lance.
Oh, that is a great line. That stuck out immediately when I heard it. A million times.
That was one of the few ones that made it through. That was one of the few ones that made it through day 1 to day 30 something.
I think Clouds Amongst the Smog was another one that like just made it all the way through to the end.
Yeah.
Like there were a few in there that we just nailed it the first time. But the vast majority of it was like, that's not quite right.
Because I think you were responsible for, because another one I love, but I think you were more responsible for it, was From Their Towers, What Is Left to Ransack Besides the Human Heart. I think that was you.
Sounds right.
I guess I could look at the revision history. Yeah,
it could be either one, honestly.
No, I really.
Memories are too painful. You're blocking it out in order to keep from the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot to the song. Like even in the process of writing, like I can tell you there were two things aside from just the general story that it needed to do. And that was make you think that there's a hero, and then after you listen to it again, you realize, oops, Not that guy.
Make you think that there's a hero, and then make sure you figure out you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's like when
Yeah.
you read into the story of Super Mario. You know, the whole kingdom's been turned into bricks, and then you figure out that Mario's actually a cereal.
You've been
Bowser
watching
was
Game
the
Theory,
good
haven't
guy.
you?
I'm not familiar with this.
Old school game
That's
theory.
for another time.
Well, that's for the next 30 minutes. Well, this podcast will be done by then, let me tell you.
Yeah. I mean, like,
That's for the after show. Only available on Adult Swim. Not sponsored.
yeah, but like,
Debolt After Dark.
yeah,
That
but
was a good one. That was a good one.
That was good.
Yeah.
All right.
but there were
This Traces
definitely
guy. I like him.
there were definitely a lot of things that it's like in coming up with the story, like a lot of the times it's like we had lyrics that fit, but it was something like it didn't quite fit the narrative though. And that was the other difficult part about writing the lyrics for this. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
getting the narrative down. Because
Um,
you talked to Canal and Noah, you both talked, especially Noah, you talked about like high philosophy. And this song is nothing but high philosophy. Like I have a philosophy minor, and I channeled all of that into this song.
yeah, like
That minor was worth it.
This took a lot of time, partially because we had to sit there and basically think. Like I think the mindset that we had to go in with it for writing certain bits. I won't say which bits, but certain bits of it we had to think, what would a cult leader say?
Yeah. We had to think to sort of, yeah, I had to get in the mindset of how do I phrase this in a way that makes you think I'm sounding sensible?
Mhm.
And I won't say which sections those are.
Mhm.
However, I will say that, like, yes, you got a lot of twisting arguments. And also, the other thing was, like, there were other sections where I had to be like, how do I present something reasonable in a way that sounds sinister?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was the other thing, was that we definitely wanted to go into this saying like both sides may have points, but some of them may not stand up to scrutiny.
Yeah. Some of them, yeah. This is a song that is designed to make you think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
like I will say
that's
like,
that's another reason why I was so flabbergasted, to use that word again, when I heard your performance, Ryan, because that clarity that you pulled out was so necessary to understand the argument that was being had between the characters in this song. And I was terrified that all of that was going to get lost.
mm-hmm.
And then it
Oh
did.
yeah.
And it was like, yes.
I mean that's always the thing in the back of your mind when you're writing lyrics is like, is this gonna get lost in translation? I mean honestly, like for anybody listening, it's like obviously go back and listen to all of these songs multiple times, please. I would love for my fellow collaborators to make sure that their songs get views. But Advance is definitely the one that, to really get what's going on, it's gonna take a few listens.
Oh, I got
Probably
plenty of
actually
listens in.
reading the lyrics. Reading the lyrics, you might get it.
You haven't posted it anywhere where you can read the lyrics, Ryan.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, the YouTube uploads,
because the
there's
YouTube thing I used DistroKid to upload everything to
the
YouTube Music
DistroKid
this time, and it doesn't upload the lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics are not
though-
there on.
Yeah, I think one thing, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe Instagram has something weird that because I just went with every option I could for uploading. So you can literally find this like everywhere you look. But I think it's on Instagram that has synced lyrics. So you can
Nice.
like actually read the lyrics as the song is playing in real time.
Maybe we should upload them to
You can
Genius.
do that on Spotify too.
I maybe maybe they would work on Spotify. I'd have to check because I know I went through and uploaded the lyrics and synced them on DistroKid. So they're out there. I just don't know quite where.
Maybe we should upload them to Genius.
It probably wouldn't hurt.
Hey,
That way
Right.
people could comment on them, try to interpret them, and you could get like community conversations about people trying to figure out what lines mean.
Yeah.
It's like I want to do that, but I also like I kind of already get what's going on with it just because of I spoke with Ryan about it. But it would be interesting to see people's interpretations of them. Like I'm not the type of person who's like,
I
right one.
have a really strong suspicion that if a lot of people listened to it, and this is kind of by design, that they would walk out of it with the complete wrong message.
I mean, I don't know if wrong is the right word. Like maybe not the same message that you
Or
had
opposite
read
message.
from it. Yeah, like I think it is very interesting that like I think you could go into this and come out of it with a completely different idea of what just happened than was ever like kind of the intention. Which is not to say that it's wrong, but that it's just different and like an interesting read on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's just a song with so many layers and so many points, especially by the way that we wrote it, where it's just going to be left up to interpretation, that I kind of have to settle with the fact that unless I've directly told you what the story is about, you're not going to know, really, the full gist.
Yeah, no, unless one of us has talked to you at length about it.
I mean, and
Well, that's
because
cool,
it's a
'cause
song, you only have so many words you can say in a song.
I'd love to hear what people, like how they interpret it.
Mhm.
I think that would be kind of like the most rewarding part is like, oh, I didn't, I didn't think of it like that when I was writing it, but I guess like it's its own creation separate from me now. So, it's whatever you think it is, I guess.
You heard the man start a Reddit flame war.
I was gonna say, I bet that's how most bands feel about their lyrics sometimes, is like when they post them or something like that, or when people start to really listen to them, they're like, wow, I never really thought about these lyrics being that. But
As a poet,
never really
you have described my
bad
dream.
thing,
As a poet, you have described my dream.
It's not really a bad thing. It's just really there's so many people in the world, and they're all gonna have different interpretations of it. So I think I agree. That'd be really cool to do.
Yeah.
I'm reading. I have the lyrics document open here because I sometimes I like looking at these and I'm just like, man, now that this is over, it's one of those things. It's sort of like having a child, It's an incredibly stressful, difficult, painful process, but afterwards you just can't help but look at it and love it. It's like I made this thing.
Yeah, the delivery of that baby was rough.
Yeah.
We're
good parents, Ryan.
Sitting in the recording room, I have so many just fun stories.
I about had a classic Ryan's about to punch a music stand moments.
Those are some good moments right there.
So there was a part specifically. I think it was the second chorus. You were mixing it up with the first one. I don't quite remember. But so anytime he would get it wrong, because the song doesn't repeat, we recorded it start to finish every time. Just that was the whole recording. Anytime he would mess up, I would like chuckle a little bit on the inside and then look into the booth. Ryan would either be staring down at the floor, hanging his head in shame, or looking at me with eyes filled with pain. It was, and there's this little bit with the robotic voice that's in there. You hear like these phaser sounds, just this, I remember that in the studio. He was just screwing around, and when I heard it in the final song, I was like,
that is me like doing like an air whistle kind of thing into the mic.
That's funny. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that.
Into the final product, and I was like, oh, okay.
Like once I threw the effects onto the voices, it sounded kind of like a siren kind of thingy, and I was like, that has to stay now. And it was only on one take. It was on one take.
Because one of the things I love and is the beginning of this song, which has been there since the instrumental you sent me, is that just that sharp, clear note at the beginning. You didn't even realize this, but I think that's the exact same note the Star Trek theme opens on for Next Generation, and then it decays into a siren, and I was like, that's how you start a dystopian song. You do the most hopeful, futuristic show ever, and you have it collapse into sirens.
I'll take that.
That reminds me of like, anytime I hear a G chord, I immediately think of a Reliant K song, and I can't, like, my brain knows, is like, oh, that's G.
That's funny.
That's the other like crazy thing is like the keys that were in this song. It's like well, just between all of the songs, because it's like, I think, let's see if I'm remembering correctly, Invincible is in C major, shocker. Then I think going Rogue and Advance, I think, are in D minor. Well,
a favorite key of mine.
I think, never mind. No, it's Going Rogue that I think is in D minor, and then Advance is in D major or B minor.
Advance switches back and forth.
Yeah, it's kind of it's tricky. Because there are parts where it's like, that's minor, and then there's parts where that's major.
God, did you also have to record Advance like line by line and then splice it all together?
No. It was one.
We recorded it. I recorded it full thing every single time.
It was a marathon. And anytime you messed up, it was just keep going. Just keep going. Because even if you don't get a good take here, we may get a good take there, and we're going to have to chop it up and...
Yeah.
Wow.
Fascinating.
God,
it was.
I don't know how you still have lungs. I don't know how you.
It was actually recorded over 2 recording sessions. It was very, very fun. Very, also not fun, but also very fun.
Yeah,
I
think the least fun part was us getting out of there right after the buses got done running, and so us having to walk all the way from this is going to give away the college, Vershawn Auditorium, all the way to Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium where my car was parked. That's like a half an hour plus walk.
Oh, but we talked about so many things. Saw some people playing Ultimate Frisbee, and we were like, wow, Ultimate Frisbee, that'd be great to join if we weren't so tired.
No, God.
No,
I do.
Advance was just a journey lyrics all around to make. It just took.
It's a song about a journey. The song was a journey. It involved multiple journeys.
It just wasn't sung by Journey, and that's where it fails.
No, I remember you sending me the first demo of this when it was complete, and I was like, this is so good. I just have one critique. I just want the lyrics to be up a little higher. And that was probably just me being selfish because it's the only part I worked on.
No, that's typical though, because like, and this is typical for anybody that's mixing their own vocals, because I mix all my own music and master it. When you hear your own voice, you just internally cringe inside, and you just want to bury that, and you just can't.
Yeah, on any recording ever, if I hear my own voice, I'm going to put myself into a 6-foot hole and stay there as long as possible.
Am I the only person who kind of likes the sound of my own voice?
But you live in the coffin?
I'm sorry, I don't live on a throne of lies.
No, that's sort of my thing. I've loved voice acting for so long. that my trick was that I just worked until I liked my own voice. It was like, if I like it, everyone else should, right?
Trick yourself.
Yeah, maybe that's all I've done. Don't break the illusion, please.
Yeah. But
When you're trying to copy another song, your voice tends to kind of match their cadence and temper, and you're like kind of having an existential crisis as to what's my singing voice. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I make the horrible discovery.
Yeah.
of recording myself and then listening to it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, kind of getting from there, it's I think this is a good time to transition to the other one that took very long inside of the studio to do. So, hey, Alfie, I've noticed you've been a little quiet there. I think it's your turn.
I'm here. Hi.
Okay, I was just. It only takes like 11 to 15 minutes to get to your house. So if you were dead, then I don't know. We just hit
No.
the pause button and come back in 15 minutes.
Admittedly, it is actually pretty intimidating to hear you all speak, so I didn't have the courage to say anything.
You're all
But
right.
you're on one of the I want to say one of the best songs of this EP, like I could ever choose.
I chose, and I already apologized for it.
I respect your choice, but I have decision anxiety.
Oh, rip.
I do apologize. I did listen to the EP, and I did thoroughly enjoy all your guys' songs. I just didn't feel like I had anything worthwhile to input, so I didn't know what to say.
It happens. It happens.
You've been listening to me this whole time? I don't have worthwhile input, I just have jokes.
Nah, I also have a very low social battery, so I was saving it all for this little moment, so I didn't use it all up giving commentary on everybody else's stuff and then not have
This
it to
is
talk
my
about my
moment.
project.
I entirely respect that. Well,
Yeah.
here's your moment.
Yeah. So here's the first thing that I should probably mention. So I mentioned at the very beginning that most of the projects had been done this semester. This is where the most ends. So if you have watched the last podcast or were in the last podcast
I
for
was
two
gonna
of you,
reference it.
you will remember that I had a moment where I said there were originally 10 songs planned to be on Binary. This is the 10th.
Listen, I have a full-time job. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, this
Turns
one.
out 10 was reaching a bit.
No, this one. You thought Advance was a nightmare.
This one was just a scheduling nightmare. Like, I have a full-time job. Ryan was a full-time student. Alfie is a full-time, babysitter.
Full-time plus.
Caretaker.
Full-time plus.
That's the word. I am an old-fashioned man. I don't know. I don't know new words.
I will say that was the one advantage we had when working on Advanced was I'm a bum. I don't have a job yet. So Ryan would just be like, "You free to work?" And I'd be like, "What else would I be doing?"
So the stars aligned like 3 times for this song to get finished,
Yeah,
and
pretty
it
much.
was rough. It was rough.
Well,
Oh,
the
yeah.
first original lyrics were so jarring. I'm
Oh,
like, I don't think we should
Oh,
go through
no.
this.
Here it is.
We'll get to
Here it
that.
is,
We'll get to
boys.
that. I think we have to start
Oh.
from the very beginning, though. So originally, this was a Ryan and Turtley project because we were like, let's do something, and it started with a joke, and then it just
think
kept
I know the
going.
joke.
I won't spoil the
What
joke
was the
for
joke?
anybody that hasn't heard it. You got to go listen to the song to go get the joke, and then you can come back here and shake your fist at us.
Wait, how have you gotten this far in the podcast without listening to the album? Go listen to the album, or EP, sorry, but go listen to the EP. What are you still doing here? We'll be here when you get back.
Yeah.
We are forever trapped in the digital world. Only a voice recording of our former selves, never to exist again.
Oh yeah. Like the writing process of this one, well, it was quick. Like actually writing it didn't take that long. It was kind of nuts though, because it's like I think if I'm remembering correctly, because it was like a year ago. Me and Turtley went. We want glitches. Like we were like, we want glitches in this. Where can we throw glitches? And it's just... and like yeah, it's like you get the ambience at the start, you get the glitching, and then it just turns into a punk rock song out of nowhere.
I just love how we were doing this. Let's make this really ambiance like opening. So like space stuff. That's what we're going for. Hey, what about a text to speech? What would that do?
Yeah, what would that sound like? And literally, like I remember
album without some space stuff.
I almost made it. But I think I remember exactly what happened. Is it's just like we named the song first, and we wrote.
Wait. Does that mean all four of these? Well, three out of four of these songs were named before they were written.
Yes.
Amazing.
Wow.
Sounds like there's a theme.
It's almost like I keep a list on my phone and in notebooks of song name ideas that I like, and then I run with them.
Every song has to start from an idea. Might as well be a name.
Yeah, but like it was the text to speech. Like we did the text to speech thing, and Turtley just threw something right at the end, and then we were like, that has to stay.
It was super relevant at the time. It's still slightly relevant now. I can't wait until it just falls into the abyss of past jokes that people don't get anymore. And then you just gotta, like, it's just gonna hit you from left field. No one's gonna get it. Everyone's gonna be confused, and it'll, like, light a flame under the song to live again. It'll be reborn like a phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, yeah, we spent a couple sessions actually writing the song, writing the melody line for the lyrics. And then I think I went, hey, Turtley, let's see if Alfie is willing to do the singing on this. And there it began. Because, okay, first things first, you guys want to know what the original hook lyrics were?
Oh my gosh. Literally, they showed me the hook.
They are
like,
ingrained in my brain.
No, you can't, Mike. You cannot put that out. Are you kidding me? I'm like, I understand you want this whole album to have some sort of dark feel to that, but I'm like, you gotta keep it like.
We were like, we can't do
PC,
this.
like,
We know we could
politically
use
correct,
them.
please.
It was just
bad.
firing off. There was no filter.
Like,
we were
literally just
whatever
firing
ideas
off.
We had.
And what came out
I
of
feel
my
like
mouth.
I need to see a copy of these.
I don't think there exists a copy of the. Like, it was only one line. Like, because you got the melody, the dun dun
I
dun dun
might
dun
have
dun
something in my
dun.
email from forever ago.
Maybe, but yeah, like we had the hook melody in the chorus, which is the dun 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 dun. The original lyrics, before we came up with the actual lyrics that were just spur off the top of my heads, were, "Hey kids, get a ride, we're all committing suicide."
Oh my god.
Almost had a second song about cults.
So bad.
cult-like.
It was so bad.
It was like, we can't
That's what
do
you're
that,
talking about.
but
That's beautiful in the darkest way. Like, you want to talk about a punk song?
Like, it was like, how?
I respect your, authenticity and your courage, but I didn't particularly want my name attached
Oh, no,
to
don't
something
worry.
with
Don't
those
worry. We weren't about
lyrics.
to either.
I'm
Yeah.
not that brave.
No. But the final idea for the lyrics, we do have to attribute to Alfie.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, the animal lover who decided to write a song about animals dying in space.
You guys said you still wanted like some sort of dark theme, and I just had an idea.
Yeah, the whole idea was it's like a super kind of cheery sounding song, but really dark lyrics. So it's a very heavy contrast between the sound of the melody and the content of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Colin. What's the guy from Game Grumps, like the Ninja Sex Party? What is it called? What is his band called?
Ninja
that
Sex
is
Ninja
Party.
Sex Party.
Is that right?
Just sex.
It kind of reminded, kind of reminded me of that. It was a lot of songs,
Heathen
yeah,
name.
but well, then I felt bad because I don't think I really contributed to like a single lyric or single line. I just came up with the idea because I really could not allow that song to be on the album. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you contributed. I remember very clearly you contributed. Because it was all three of us sitting at Turtley's house, and we were just
Old
like,
house.
what if the next lyric was this? And you know what? Like, so Alfie first came up with the idea, and we all went, well, I think I turned to them and went, I know a video about this. And I think it was Salmonella Academy's video on the animals that
It's
have
a
died in
beautiful
space.
name, Salmonella Academy.
Oh, go watch that video, and you will understand like half of the jokes because that's where they came from. Like, so many of the jokes from the song came from us watching that video after Alfie came up with the idea, and then us going to like Wikipedia pages and like official websites and just figuring out like how many animals actually died in space and how awful were some of them.
It's pretty important. Poor Alfie got disconnected. Rip. She'll be back, hopefully.
Hopefully she'll be back.
It's actually really funny that we did all this research into the song, so technically everything that happened in the song should be historically accurate with a little bit of word flair in there. But
Yeah.
it actually
Which
happened.
is a bit unfortunate when you get thinking about it.
It's just the whole I've said this in person to Ryan before, but the whole idea of how we went about trying to discover how space worked, I'm sure what they did made sense at the time. Some of the times, some of them were blatant just ignorance. But
Yeah, you know, like how the next step after fruit flies was monkey. Like that was a fantastic jump.
You gotta learn to walk before you run. But it's crazy to think that we look back on it now, knowing everything that we do know now about space, and say, wow, that was stupid.
Yeah. Or like, wow, that was incredibly unethical.
That's the bigger one, yes.
It's okay in space. No one can hear you scream.
Oh,
Uh,
oh no.
but apparently you can still receive phone calls.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds reasonable.
I mean, like, the song is a fever dream, really.
And
And
we
like,
didn't take any drugs. We don't do drugs here. Even if we did drugs, we'd probably just level out to be about the same amount of crazy as we already are.
We produce differently weird things, but they'd still be equally weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like there were so many weird bits about it, and like the scatterbrain was in full swing when we were writing the lyrics. I remember that. Oh, and actually that was kind of the other thing I remember that Alfie had a big part in, is like we brought the skeleton demo with us when we were writing the lyrics, but she had like the idea to add those like sounds that kind of go in there, and like some of the other like backing noises that really gave it like more depth and made it sound more interesting. Those were all her ideas.
Nice. I don't know if she's back yet.
I don't know either.
Working on it.
I have to say, Alfie has really undersold her part in this song, because it almost seems as though she would have you believe that she just did the vocals, but that does not seem to be entirely true.
No. And honestly, the vocals
those-
were a huge portion of the
Those
work.
vocals are so good too, may I add.
And they were
was
difficult too.
wonderfully.
I mean,
Is this her first like big project?
I think like officially, like out there and on the internet, song wise, yes, I believe.
But she's
Because
not
it
a
was just
stranger to this.
Not
Okay.
a stranger
leave
to
at
it,
that.
but it's the official. It's like the first official release. Like for me, this is also my first like official release. I have done a lot of stuff, but under
Gotcha.
the radar.
It
It's
takes
just
some time to
lives in
develop the
darkness.
necessary egotism to inoculate yourself against the internet.
Speaking of which, a shameless plug, I'm releasing an EP soon. Please listen to it or don't. I don't, whatever you want to do. I don't really care.
And I will be linking it and
Nice.
tweeting about it as soon as it comes out, because I've heard it. It's great.
But, okay.
Yeah,
I'm just a
but
guy, man.
I mean, like, well, part of it is like going to it is like there was definitely a reason that when we were writing it, like I turned to Turley and went, I want to see if Alfie is willing to sing on this, because it's just like I think her voice fit it perfectly for how she sang it.
Oh, I agree. Her singing is impeccable.
And I'm just hoping she
It is-
reconnects
it is
soon so
great.
she can respond to this.
Do it. There might just be a cut in the podcast where it's just like, all right, 15 minutes has passed. We got.
Yeah, we got Alfie back.
Oh, we made it to Alfie's house so that we could check.
It's been 3 days, 18 hours, 52 minutes, and counting seconds right now, and we just got Alfie back.
I
We
mean,
weren't kidding when we said her internet was terrible.
yeah. Oh,
Hey! Noise!
hey!
On that
Hey!
phone.
That
Yay!
works.
You're doing the thing that I told you to do.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. I waited this whole entire time to record my part, and then when I'm ready, my internet goes out.
Feels
that's,
bad.
that's normal with that middle of nowhere. It's just that's what the internet does.
It's just Murphy's Law right there.
Curse you, Murphy.
Yeah. Why'd you have to
Hey.
make that law, Murphy?
He observed the law. He didn't create it.
No, he spoke it into the world. As soon as somebody noticed it, it was immediately implemented permanently.
You
Yeah,
saying
what's his name?
Murphy writing his own law was the first instance of Murphy's Law?
No,
Ooh.
wait, you don't
As soon as it
you-
was observed, it now
Wait a minute,
existed
wait a
for
minute,
all eternity.
wait a minute. You know this as good as I do. As soon as we observe a quantum mechanical state, it collapses. You know this. As soon as we observe the law, it becomes reality.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at
everybody
here,
threw
man.
Murphy in
As
chat.
soon as it was observed, it was there. It's done. You
The superposition
screwed it up for all of
collapsed.
us.
We were all screwed.
I love the idea that before it was Murphy's Law, it was Murphy's quantum wave function.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've got Alfie back, I suppose we can probably talk about the recording process of it, because that was the thing that took forever.
To be fair, I only had 1 day to do it.
Yeah, one day after months
night.
and months
One day,
of trying.
One recording session, multiple takes.
Yeah, so let this sink in, people of the internet and this podcast. All of those takes she did were in 1 day.
Whoa.
Well, I was kind of surprised. Well, when he said, "Hey, you can sing this song," I'm like, "Yeah, man, that'd be really cool. I'd love to do that for you." I didn't, I should have had the forethought that it was a Ryan song, and it probably was going to have a very wide range, a range of which I do not possess, and I was not quite ready for.
That is the other thing. Like, okay, if there are two things that I think make my vocal songs difficult, is that they don't follow typical song patterns, so they're difficult to write for. And they also have ridiculous vocal ranges that make it difficult for people to sing. I'm
Ryan
sorry.
has no idea what metrical feet are, and it hurts me every time.
No, I am a alto with mezzo soprano capabilities at best. And this dude wanted a Celine Dion, and I could not provide that. It was out there. I was reaching, and I cheated so many times, especially on the beginning line of each verse, because it was so low. The verse itself was incredibly high to the point where I couldn't even, it was so high and so fast that I didn't leave me any room for belting, and I had to go straight for falsetto. But each beginning line went so low that I had to cheat on each and every single one because I could not reach those notes.
Yeah,
it was so hard.
A lot.
We cheated
I'll tell
so
you
much.
probably cheated way less than
it's
a lot
kind
of
of
A-list
flattering.
performers.
It's kind of flattering how much you expected of me vocally, but it was so humbling. I can't tell you how humbled I was in that experience. I was like, oh, wow.
No, I mean, honestly,
that
it
was
reminds me of working with Whiskers on Moon Pie, because it was the exact same problem.
This is why you got to start working with Ryan before you get to the recording stage. It's the only way to keep him in check.
It's just maybe it's just the way that I write melodies, but they just get ridiculously to the edges of people's range. Because if I remember, Lost Sanctity was like that too, where it's we had to change the key because it was just getting way into a bit of Noah's range.
Yeah, and we were very lucky that it actually sounded better in that new key. But if it sounded worse, I don't know what would have happened. We would have had to have figured something else out.
Well, we've already established what would have happened. Ryan would have come back to it. He would have said, "Do it again."
That's true.
Would have said, "Get better, scrub." No, but honestly, you did a great job with the Impact lyrics. Don't sell yourself short on those.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
No, it sounds amazing. That's actually something I wanted to comment on about Advance too. Just to return to that one, when writing for that, I was hearing the melody line, and I was like, Ryan, how are you going to do this fast? So when I heard that he did use any acceleration to speed up something while he was singing it, I was terrified. I was like, are you okay? What have you done to yourself?
Yeah, I think that's when you do a lot of techno instrumentals. Sometimes you don't take vocals into account to the end because most, techno instrumentals are fast, very fast paced. And when you use vocals as an afterthought, yeah, it can be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the other thing that made the song particularly difficult to record is I think there were a couple lines in there where we just had to stop a lot because we couldn't get through the line because we started laughing too hard.
No, it was so awful. It was the monkey one.
Gordo, the
Every
poor
single
doomed squirrel
time we
monkey.
did the monkey line, I started laughing and I felt awful because it
How's
wasn't
that
supposed to
line
be
go
funny.
again? Because
Or
I'm gonna be
Gordo, the
honest.
poor doomed squirrel monkey that took a dive after his parachute quit.
My God.
I think the cat one also got you a few times.
Yeah.
Like there are so many like ones on there because it is like kind of just in the way that it's performed and like the satire bit. It's a comedic song, but it is also kind of like I hate myself for laughing at this kind of song.
Well, it's comedic in the way where we look back at the past and we're like, why did we do that? As the human race, we are idiots. It's like looking at fashion trends that happened in like the 80s and 90s where you're like,
I don't know what you mean. Everything should be made out of jeans.
We're returning to that. We're returning to that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
literally saw a
Everyone's
commercial.
making denim shoes. It's
Yeah, I was about
awful.
to say I literally saw a commercial today about people wearing nothing but denim. It's
like denim
happening
shoes
again.
and denim hats. Like denim boots and denim cowboy hats are super in right now.
okay, denim shoes I can see working if you're not wearing jeans with them.
I
But
think
what
we
if
used
the
to call
shoes get
them-
wet?
I think we used to call those
That's
moccasins.
A fair point. I just the idea of blue shoes, I think it's the blue part of it that's making me be like, yay, blue.
Initially, I thought they were made out of suede.
Yeah.
Suede shoes. Those are nice.
Yeah. But I'm trying to remember because while recording Impact, it had to be like we recorded it like
Line
bit
by
bit.
line.
Yeah, we recorded it.
Yeah, we
line by
basically
line.
almost did line by line because it was faster and more efficient that way.
Well, and I think the other thing that made it difficult to try to do not line by line, was that it had been so long since we had written the lyrics that you needed a refresher, and it doesn't help that dyslexia is not fun. I hear.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're talking about that. So I guess I'm dyslexic. Woohoo.
Yeah.
When did Binary come out?
would have been-
Binary came out February this year.
February.
So about
yeah,
3
it was
months
like,
ago.
It was literally like it was literally like Ryan. We did that podcast, and then Ryan was like, "I got a song for you."
Like no, like legitimately, like the turnaround time. None of the songs except for Impact had even been started at the time of recording that podcast. Like all of these things were recorded, mixed, mastered in the span of like 2-3 months.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that this man got a physics degree. Like this in the same time, in the same semester that he finished these songs. So
I
it's
don't
just
know where
Wait,
he
hold on,
finds
hold
the
on.
energy.
Hold on, I
don't sleep at night very well.
can find it. I can do it.
You okay?
I can find it.
He's looking for something.
I can
Is it his sanity?
sanity after working on this.
I think we've all swiftly lost
Wait,
our
wait, wait.
sanity.
Nice one.
There we go. There we go.
I love the sound effect, but also I got what you did there, Ryan. I heard what you did there. You can't hide from me.
I cannot hide
It
from
took
the king of
so
puns.
long
That
to
is
find.
correct.
It would have been so much better had I found it sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I mean, honestly, like, so much of the work, though, was like, I was working with you guys, like, especially getting the stuff recorded in the studio, was, it made it so much easier in the mixing realm, because there really wasn't a whole lot I had to do to bring out your guys' performance on everything. So that made my life a lot easier.
That's very sweet.
Oh, Colin.
All right. That was my chance to redeem myself. All right, I'm done.
I will agree. Y'all done good. I unfortunately I can't take any credit for performances. I didn't have one.
You had your own
Songwriting is a
performance.
performance.
Yeah, it's its own. You had an artistic expression within this EP, and that's
I don't disagree with that fact. I'm just pointing out that like nothing I did at any studio made anybody's life easier. In fact, some of the lines I wrote probably made Ryan's life purposefully harder, and you know what? He deserves it.
Maybe I'm just the
Truer
ultimate.
words haven't been said, let me tell you.
Maybe I'm just the ultimate masochist, and that's why I like From Software games too. And why I took on a physics degree with an astro degree, man. Maybe I am a masochist.
Yeah, you are the second group I write music with that I've helped on a Dark Souls song, Dark Souls inspired song.
I mean, like it's just like I mean, like making this whole EP was very fun, though. Like I mean, it was my senior semester in my degree, and like honestly, a lot of the classes I did, like I mean, I had my final astro class and my final physics class, but then I also used my drawing class as an excuse to make the album art for this. Just went ahead and went yes. My final project for art. What if?
This is how you could tell Ryan did study physics, because he's really good at optimization problems.
Turns out I just write a genetic algorithm that predicts everything I'm going to do from a day to day and optimizes for it.
Don't bring your research into this.
If I made an optimized algorithm as to how I would react to every day-to-day thing, it would be like, step 1, ignore the algorithm, embrace chaos every day, unfailing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I feel like we're getting towards the end here. So, I have to ask some of the obligatory questions. Number 1, let's go down alphabetical order here. I know we already got Turtley's answer on this, but I am interested, aside from the one you worked on, which song are you enjoying the most currently from the EP?
That would be me first. I'm not that dyslexic. I can see I'm first. So I'm putting that out there. I think. Oh, that's gonna be hard. I gotta think for a second.
There's not as many options as the last time I asked this question.
Well, I know, but because I feel like because there's less options, it makes it harder. In a way, because each piece just has a great sense of individualism, and I really like each piece. So I'm.
You also can't cop out and pick out one song you just worked on by yourself, right?
I think I really liked Advance probably the best. I think it was also because I did get to see. I think it was mostly to make me feel better. Ryan did a couple takes after I recorded, and he was in just as much pain as I was recording my song.
Oh, yeah,
so I think I now have some sort of like sentimental attachment to that song, so I understood the pain that he went through at the same time.
Pretty much.
No, but I really like it because Ryan does have a very distinct sound. Like he does manage to put a little bit of his distinct kind of style in every song that he does. And I love it because it is kind of ironic because he is like very interested in astrophysics and stuff like that. And he does almost always put like a techno spacey theme in every song he does. But I personally love when he sings because I grew up around him and I love when he sings. So I'm going to be a little sappy and say I love when Ryan sings probably the most.
Aw, thank you.
Aw.
Right back at you.
Turtley, that was your cue.
Yeah, the Turtley, that was your win.
Well, I told you I wasn't gonna do it again. I got my redemption.
That's fair. That's
All
fair.
right, Canal.
You don't want
Aw.
to overuse it.
Canal's turn.
Oh god, I guess that makes me each individual song, like Alfie said, is just absolutely amazing. I love every single piece that you guys did. Oh man, I am tied between honestly Impact and Invincible. Um it, Impact being is just the lyrics are there for me, and Alfie, your voice is awesome in it.
Oh,
And
thank you.
Invincible is so neat, on which I can just listen to Noah's vocal part and not having to listen to like lyrics or how how this person sang, or all that kind of stuff. So it's between them for me. Uh I'm gonna go with Impact. I like Impact the best personally.
I mean, we're all gonna say this, but like, I'm still gonna say it. It's tough because even though there's a very clear influence from Ryan on all of these, they do have their own like I can see the influence of everyone else on each of them. And
Oh
I'd
yeah,
really
Ryan
have
would not have thought of the word archaic in advanced on his own, and I have that from his lips.
I would have to kind of split hairs in order to choose a favorite, like an absolute favorite. It's between Going Rogue and Advance, I think. But I think I'm gonna go with Advance. I just really like. It's a combination of the impressive lyrics writing, as with the like impressive diction in the performance of it. So I'm gonna say that edges it just a little bit above Going Rogue, but again, I mean, like all of them are just like too close.
Traces.
This is where it comes to haunt me that I said the Fifth Amendment does not exist in this code. So I'm gonna take my time, and I'm going to gush about every song in turn before picking my favorite. That way you all can feel happy. So one of the things that I didn't hear any other song, and in fact I heard no final version of any song in this EP until it came out. I had that luxury of getting to hear the full package all at once, because while I did hear a demo of Advanced, it was the first demo. I didn't hear the final version. And one of the things, so like listening to it in order, I did know about Noah doing a reading for Invincible. We talked about that beforehand because I'm a spoken word poet. So, and I'd done spoken word on Ryan's stuff before. So we talked about how to do that. And I wasn't kidding. Your performance is beautiful. I love the fact that you speed it up. Like you actually just sort of like, it almost feels like building up to a dubstep drop. Just da 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 da. It's great. I love that. I love that instrumental, the soothingness of it. It really is this sort of upbeat, tranquil, like self-assured answer to the self-doubt, self-deprecation in Lost Sanctity. And that is a nice sort of call and response across two projects. If you haven't listened to Binary, listeners, one, props for getting this far. Two, go back and listen to Binary. Go listen to Noah sing and convince yourself that it's not just Ryan pitched down. It's insane how close they are. And that's a compliment to you, by the way, Noah, because Ryan's an amazing singer.
I know. You can, Ryan and I went to high school together, and I think Canal and Ryan can both tell you themselves how much I really liked Ryan's singing then. So I definitely take that as a compliment.
And then we come to Going Rogue. And Going Rogue, I was listening to it in my car, and it took every ounce of strength in my body not to just let my foot lay on the accelerator. That feels like the kind of song you play driving across the Mojave Desert at midnight, going 100 miles an hour where there's no cops for miles. It just
Initial D.
I love that bass lick so much. I love bass licks in general. Like I am a bass singer. I wasn't in choir like the rest of y'all. I'm more of a jazz guy myself, but I
Ooh, nice.
have this deep bassy voice. I love bass in songs. I love that jazzy sort of that walking bass. And that song does not have walking bass. It has sprinting bass. And I love it. I just love it the whole way through, that thread of just the little subtle variations on it. It's so good. And you're right. It does embody like this idea of like going rogue. Like you feel like you're about to be chased by the cops, and you also feel like you don't care.
You just got to put on your aviators and let it go.
Exactly.
That's
And
right.
then-
Fold up the collar on your trench coat and just go.
And then we come to Impact, and like one, laugh out loud funny. Like I like when I heard the first joke in that song, which I'm going to desperately try not to spoil, I fell over laughing. Like I was in the car and I was like, ah crap, I have to focus on driving. But this is so funny. But it was just great. I loved that. And then the whole song just keeps up that pace, but then it's got this kick-ass melody and the singing is lovely, and I love that it all comes together into this great package. Like you really are a good singer, Alfie. Do
No,
not sell
thank
yourself
you.
short. You belong in this cohort of Ryan's growing list of collaborators.
Yeah, just hoping next time something a little bit more in my range.
Don't count on it.
I know.
Very true.
So, one reason I've realized I will never sing for Ryan, because he could never write something that could stick in my range.
Or is he just trying to expand your horizons?
Nah, just trying to expand the vocal range.
No.
Gotta
No,
stretch
he's
them
not.
vocal
He'll
cords.
never.
You gotta exercise them, make them stronger.
I'll get there eventually.
We'll get you singing Bohemian Rhapsody in no time.
That song
As
is
long
so
as you
much fun to
pitch
sing.
shift it down 2 octaves, and then I'm with you. But yeah, if I had to pick a favorite out of those three, oh god, this is difficult. But I'd have to say Going Rogue probably, just because I love that, and especially now that I've heard just that it's a subtle tribute to bass singers everywhere. I think I have to stand in solidarity with you there, Canal.
That's right. That's right, baby. Right there. Bass singers unite.
And we have heard Turtley's remarks on this, but maybe if he wants to reiterate.
Well, we already know. Yeah, I came out pretty early saying Going Rogue is definitely my favorite because it reminded me of Gil's theme, just that whole era of fighter games that was just a beautiful time. But I'll go into more detail for just each song, just saying the specific things that are probably my favorites. Just in Invincible, like the first time experience, just that unexpectedness of it being like poetic instead of singing. I liked it. It was unexpected, and but I like to hear the unexpected because it shows that there was a lot of creativity. There was a lot of like specifically trying to almost derail yourself to say, I want to make something unique that sounds different. And I really like the ARP in it too. The ARP that sits in the background of the song. It's very satisfying.
We do love a good ARP in this house.
Oh, yes, we do. Let's see. In Advance, I love the story that Advance tells because every time I listen to it, I almost play it out in my head, and I wish I was a cartoonist of some kind that could like draw out a music video for this thing, but it'd be hilarious if the whole song didn't even play. It was just like we release 4 different music videos because there are 4 different stories from different perspectives. It's just you can come in and out of that song every time and be like, oh, that's a detail I missed. Oh, that's a detail I missed. Point is, go listen to it and listen to it multiple times and then form an opinion and then listen to it again and break that opinion down because you missed something. I'm missing the song that I helped write. I loved the jokes that we included in Impact, and if you don't know, the first joke I'm not going to tell you. You have to go listen to it for yourself. But the first joke is my baby. I was I was so proud of it. And if anybody who listened to it immediately just said, "Oh, it's like that's a great idea." I'm like, "What do you mean? I was just messing around. It's so stupid, but that's why it's funny."
Yeah. Okay. So then here comes the next question. So again, rules apply. You can't have been a featured artist on your answer here. If you had to choose one song from the entire discography that you think that more people need to hear while they're off listening to this new EP, what is it? We'll start from the top again.
Okay, I was going to say, I can go already.
Okay.
Alfie?
I don't know how to answer this question. I'm thinking a song that you think people like really need to hear.
Yeah, or you think that people need to hear, or that you really enjoyed, or take your pick.
I already picked my favorite song, so I feel like I'll just be repeating myself.
It doesn't have to be like I'm talking from the whole thing, not even just this EP.
Oh
wait.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little way for you to plug all your
right.
stuff.
Here we go. I can help that.
Wait, from all your songs ever, that's even broader now. It's gonna hurt my brain.
All right, we may just have to go in order of who can pick one.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta look at all your songs now. Oh my god, Ryan.
Well, based off
I
of
know
some
I can at least pick one.
Okay. We'll just go in order of people that have an answer, I guess. Then.
Okay.
Right.
Canal, did you want to go?
The one that I have is Advance. The only reason being is because when you guys were talking about the messages and that, I'm like, I need to re-listen to this. So when I did it, I kind of picked up on it and all that stuff. So I think the listeners out there should actually go back and listen to it after hearing what you guys have said, or giving it a listen 2, 3, 20 times maybe. Just to get the message across. But no, that one for sure.
All right. I think Noah had an answer as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Now it looks like I'm copying you, Canal, but I was gonna say Advance because like, even if you have listened to it, go back to it and like maybe you missed something, or maybe you just listened to it the first time and you're like got all of like maybe what the intent was. If
you're just
if that's
a genius.
The case, yeah,
If that was the case,
just a genius, yeah.
We see you.
If that was the
Twitch
case-
chat.
If that was the case, get in touch. You clearly are someone worth working with.
Right. But I'm going to stick with Advance just because there's a lot to discover there, lyrically, but also in the way that it's engineered, which Ryan, I think, very appropriately considers himself not just like a composer or artist, but also a sound engineer. I think that applies very much to Advance as well.
An old lyricist's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Right. I can go if no one else has one.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go first?
I don't care.
We'll stick with alphabetical order takes precedence.
Okay, well,
You
can I
mean
say two?
alphabetical order?
I think two
All
is
right,
fair.
all right.
he's got
Ha,
jokes.
All right. Well, you know,
Oh,
I
he
think I
got
have to go now.
I think you're
Alright.
safe to say two.
Okay, I can do two.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Cool. Well, the first one would actually be from your previous album, I believe. I really liked Moon Pie because your friend Whiskers, I thought that she just had just such an angelic voice, and I was really jealous that she got to sing that song. I have to admit a little bit. So that's just one for more of just sound wise. But the other one from this one that I think people would really benefit from listening to, would definitely be Invincible. I think that, just like they said in the beginning of this podcast, that singing is beautiful and stuff, but I feel like a lot of times we get lost in the melody of the songs. And I think just when you speak, sometimes it holds so much more power, and the power of spoken word and just saying what's in your heart and saying on your mind is just really underestimated in music nowadays. And I think that the words were just so beautiful, and I think it can relate to just a broad variety of people all around the world. So I just think it would just be, beneficial for a lot of people.
Traces?
Okay, so we've got Lost Sanctity, Force, Retroglycerin, Eternity, Rev the Edge, The Mountain Call, Moon Pie, I Want Out, Fighting Twilight, I Was Wrong, Exhausted, Prologue, Technicolor Dreams, Call of the Storm, Chasing the Sunset, Power, Rigel, My Dear, Technicolor Dreams, On the Run, Exhausted, Rigel again, and Call of the Storm, and Chasing the Sunset. I'm a voice actor and I can talk that fast. You can't stop me. But if I had to pick two, based on some insider information, you might want to go check out Chasing the Sunset.
That's one of my favorites, definitely.
And then a personal favorite of mine, which I don't think gets enough credit, is On the Run. On the Run, I love. I like that sort of.
Dun, 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 dun,
I like that sort of bounty hunters get it. Like if I had a nickel for every time I'd heard a song about a bounty hunter getting betrayed, and chased through space, I'd have more than one nickel, and I'd love every one of that song, every one of those songs. I like that is a weird sub genre that I really like, and On the Run's one of those, and it's great, and Ryan's singing is on point, and I just really enjoy it.
Terribly?
So yeah, but also Chasing the Sunset, his first ever song. Insider information. Go give that one a listen.
I remember you making that song. That's weird. That's wow.
That song is over 2 years old. Let that sink in.
Oh,
What does that sync want now? Sorry.
All right, Turtley.
Sorry, I left the most at it.
Anyway, so I'm going to have to recommend two songs in order. Go listen to Prologue, followed by My Dear. Because I like Prologue a lot, actually. I was telling Ryan this the other day. I was like, this is really nice. Just some calming music and just some words to set the stage for what's to come. And then you go listen to My Dear, and I have some like insider information on My Dear. I kind of watched that song evolve over the course of like
many years.
Almost a year?
No, more than that.
I think. Oh no, it was more than 1 year. What was the original name of the song? Hold on.
Oh god, I feel like I should know this one.
The original title of it was.
It's got an I in there somewhere.
Power Fronts.
Power Fronts. Why was I thinking I? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think you just changed the name when you brought me on to do Prologue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. It was a long writing process, obviously, and instruments changed along the way, probably a million times.
Like,
but
that's the song that definitely went through the most evolutions.
Yeah, but it turned out beautifully, and it deserves a listen.
Okay, And then the final question before I let you all go. Including the 3, I'm going to say groups of songs. So Reaching, Binary, Technicolor Dreams. Rank them.
What?
Oh my God! What?
No.
This was all just a ploy to give us a survey.
All right, nope. I'll go right ahead. I'll go straight into it.
Okay.
I am unafraid to say, I think you have improved with each release.
I'll take that.
Not necessarily in the writing sense. You've always been a pretty good writer. Definitely improved there, but the whole polish to each of the songs has just gotten better because you've gotten more practice, and I can hear it in the songs. I can hear the difference going to the most recent song to the earliest song, hearing how you compress things a little bit different, you mix things a little more evenly. Like comparing old vocals to new vocals, they obviously sound better. You get better equipment, and that helps, but at the same time, you learn new things. So I will just flat out say, not the base idea of any album or EP is better than the other, but in order, your skill has grown, and I can see it. So I'm excited to see where we stand in like 5 years from now.
I'll take that.
His current output place will be way more albums in.
I'm gonna follow up and say that as soon as you ask this question, I already knew my answer, and it is the same as Turtley. I feel like I can hear you maturing as an artist and a sound engineer and a singer, and all these different ways through each album. And as proud as that makes me, I think it also makes me really excited to see what's coming next.
Man, you guys suck, because I was gonna say the same stuff, dude. Like,
Hey!
I mean, like, I loved every album that you put out and EP that you put out, but I had to agree with them, man. You have grown from the first one that you made to this one. I just, it's great to hear the progress, and like they said, I can't wait to either be a part of or listen to whatever you have coming up next, man. So.
Okay.
Here, Traces.
So
Traces go.
I don't
What?
I don't think Traces is gone. I don't think Alfie
Well,
is
I
gone.
have
yeah,
not.
if he's not ready. Yeah, wait, this
Um,
feels kind of deja vu-ish.
Have you been in this place before?
Yes. I would actually
Higher on
kind
the
of
street?
I would actually kind of say something slightly different. I personally like Technicolor Dreams probably first, because I think it's a good example of everyone starts somewhere. And I think it's important, again, just to start and to try. And I always give you that because I'm so terrified to try anything or try anything new or do much of anything. I'm always just admire how you just have like this bulldozer mentality of once you have it in your mind, you're like, well, I think I can do that. So you know what? I'm going to do it. And I've wanted to make music for so long, and I've never had the courage to do it. And I thank you for giving me an outlet to kind of try it a little bit. And then my second would definitely be Reaching. But this again, just because I got to be involved with it. And then I'd probably put Non-Binary probably third.
Nice. Traces?
So my ranking is Binary, then Technicolor Dreams, Reaching was good, but it didn't feature that one voice actor on your other 2 albums, so I had to rank it lower.
I guess
Man.
guess that can lead me to the very last thing
Oh,
that I'm gonna
there's
ask
more.
you to do.
Oh,
I've completed my shameless self promotion. Your turn.
oh.
So please tell everybody if they can find you, where they can find you, if they want to see what you're up to on your own time.
Oh.
Oh, well,
Oh.
you know, I will lead the charge. Well, you already know I'm totally unremarkable. Take that name literally because I'm just a dude doing stuff. It's mediocre, but go check it out anyway.
He's coming out of his shell.
Hey.
At Cullen Tortoise. Let's see. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube. I'll be putting music out there. I'm not on Spotify or anything yet because I don't have anything released, but it will hopefully be coming out in the next month or so. So I don't have a release date, but go follow me in those places and you'll figure out when the release date is.
I'm just a guy, so yeah. Like I'm not
That's cool.
a guy who like makes music or content of any kind. I just enjoy making it, which not to like sound all high and mighty, but I'm just glad to be a part of this, and I do my own stuff, but nothing I really need to advertise.
I guess the places you can find me, if you type in Canal Master in anything ever, that's me.
You
You'll
could also
find me
be
there.
found between 2 rivers.
That
Hey,
is true. That is true.
heck, if there's
I
ever
got
a man-made
nothing.
waterway, it might
If
be
there's
him.
ever a man-made, you might know me. The Suez, that's pretty cool.
Panama.
Ever been to Panama?
If you look on a globe anywhere, just type in canal. I got nothing to advertise for myself. If anything, I'll just be helping out anybody that's in here because these guys are awesome. So you'll probably find me either helping them, or if you see me in a video game, make sure to give me a holler or something.
I'll specifically yell at you, just saying, like, calling you trash.
I hate that guy.
Like, I hated you in this song and that song and future songs that may be released at the time. I'm trashing you.
Is that the canal guy? Yeah, get him! I know. Like, it's just,
True fan behavior.
true fan behavior.
You were better in this year.
I liked your old stuff more. I guess it's my
If I had
turn.
anything to promote, I have been debating, as you guys probably witnessed, I'm not like the most technologically sound person out there. But I have been debating trying to kind of use that to make some money on Twitch. I've debated starting a Twitch and just playing games horribly.
Do it.
So
Do it with
if
you.
you wanted to, I do have a Twitch, but I haven't used yet because again, I don't have the courage to. And it's a weird name, and I probably will change it. But it's Levi's Left Bootstrap, like Levi from Attack on Titan.
Oh my god, I've seen you.
What?
I really have. I actually have. Yeah.
Le-
I've definitely
Levi's
seen
Left Bootstrap?
that. Yes.
I haven't done anything yet. What?
Where have I heard? I definitely heard that somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, that was pretty much it. Just like I've debated like this summer if I have any downtime to make extra money starting Twitch and just showing how awful. If I'm gonna be, I love playing video games, but I'm awful at them. So hopefully,
Unless it's
if
putt-putt.
people like watching me suffer, I can make some extra
It's
cash off that.
putt-putt.
That'd be nice.
Putt travels through time.
Watch her play
Come
putt-putt.
on, let's go.
Oh
Let's
yeah!
get it
I forgot I
streamed.
downloaded all the putt games.
Putt marathon.
And that leaves Traces.
Okay, so I'm hard to find at the moment, but keep an eye out for the name Traces of a Headspace in the future. You might see me around doing some of my spoken word poetry. I've tagged in some Instagram stuff for open mic performances around. Just make sure you don't end up on the meditation app. It's Traces of a Headspace. If you just do Headspace, you'll just end up on the meditation app. Don't do that. If you'd like to hear some of my other lyrical work, I am featured, though uncredited, on the work of a band you've probably never heard of, called Sasha, Sazcha, which is another friend who I help write for. They're a rock band, psychedelic and punk. But if you want to hear more of my writing, I am featured on their stuff. You can guess which lines are mine, because some of it's pretty damn obvious. And other than that, yeah, I'm not out there very much, but maybe by the time we do the podcast for the next thing, I will be.
All right.
By next time, you'll have a whole book that's just poetry about different subject matters into sections.
No, I'm literally writing a book. Stop it. Spoiler.
Nice!
Oh,
Yeah, release it. I'll buy that book.
It's not done yet. I haven't really started writing the actual chapters. I've just got a really good concept I like.
oh,
Well,
been
we
there
will be
before.
waiting with bated breath.
I'll buy that book and also do an audiobook of it. I'll buy that too.
Well, I may do an audiobook. I've got another friend who I'm an editor for who I need to record the audiobook for the first few chapters of his thing.
See, man, what are you talking about not doing anything? You're doing stuff.
I haven't published anything. Everything's just in progress.
So tell the people to wait in suspense. Then they'll really be gripped.
Start advertising early. All right. But I think that is everything we had. Thank you, everybody who made it through the video and all the shameless self-promoting at the end. See you next time.